The vast African savanna is one of the most inhospitable and fascinating places on Earth. With its endless horizon, dotted by a few trees and dry bushes, it is a land of extremes where beauty and danger walk hand in hand. Lions, with their majestic posture, rule these plains as true kings. And among the kings of the savanna, Sekekama is a legend. Sekekama has dominated his territory for years. With strength, intelligence, and firm leadership, he ensured that his coalition of lions was one of the most respected and feared in the region. The marks on his body, scars from past battles, are proof of his reign and the long fight for survival. But time, which spares no living being, has begun to take its toll. Sekekama is no longer the young and vigorous leader he once was. He has aged, and with that comes the need to pass the baton to the next generation. Among his sons, a young lion stands out. Strong and imposing, he quickly gained a reputation as the most promising of Sekekama's heirs. Since he was young, he always showed extraordinary physical strength, and as he grew, he became the pride of his father. The expectations surrounding him are high. He seems destined to lead the coalition in Sekekama's place, to secure the territory, and to maintain the family's powerful lineage. But life in the savanna is tough. Here, being the strongest is not always enough. The young lion, no matter how strong he is, still needs to prove that he has what it takes to lead. He is not alone on this journey. His brothers, each with their own abilities, are also eyeing the future of the coalition. One of his brothers, smaller in size, is incredibly cunning, always knowing what to do in complex situations. Another is agile and skilled in hunts, with an almost superhuman ability to bring down prey with precision. The competition between them is inevitable. Although it is not explicit, there is a latent tension. Everyone knows that soon, Sekekama's kingdom will need a new leader, and the weight of this responsibility is beginning to fall on the shoulders of the strongest son. He knows he is seen as the natural successor. He knows the coalition depends on his strength to maintain the territory, the females, and the resources that ensure the group's survival. But this young lion is still learning what it means to be a leader. As he ventures further from the center of Sekekama's territory, testing his skills in small skirmishes with younger rivals and hunting smaller prey, he begins to realize that physical strength is not the only factor that defines success. He has seen his father face situations of great danger, but only now does he begin to understand the complexity of those decisions. To lead is not just to fight, it is to protect the territory, to maintain peace among the coalition members, and above all, to ensure that his lineage prevails. Each time a new incursion occurs, he feels that the rivals are watching more than just the territory. They are studying his response, looking for weaknesses in his strategy, or worse, in his leadership. Within the coalition, things are also beginning to change. The cunning brother, who has always been reserved, now starts to speak up more often. He suggests different tactics, questioning the strong brother's direct and aggressive approach. For him, simply rushing into battle could be a mistake. After all, the true threat has not yet fully revealed itself. These smaller incursions are just the beginning. The cunning brother believes that a larger coalition is behind it all, waiting for the right moment to strike with full force. This constant questioning begins to bother the young leader. He knows he is the strongest, that he is destined to lead, but the doubts planted by his brother are beginning to erode his confidence. Could his approach be wrong? Will brute strength not be enough to keep the coalition intact? He remembers his father, Sekekama, always so calm and strategic, making decisions based on years of experience. The young lion, on the other hand, feels like he is fighting not only external enemies, but also an inner uncertainty that grows with each passing day. In one of these moments of internal tension, news arrives. A rival coalition, bigger and more organized than any they have faced before, has been spotted near one of the main watering holes in the territory. This coalition, made up of young lions full of energy and ambition, is clearly preparing for a direct confrontation. This rival group is not just probing the edges of the territory. They are advancing with confidence, ready to challenge Sekekama's reign, and, more importantly, the future of his strongest son. The pressure mounts. The young lion feels the weight of the moment, but knows this is his chance to prove his worth once and for all. He gathers his brothers and begins to devise an attack plan. The cunning brother, however, continues to question the plan. He insists that the rival coalition is waiting for them, ready to ambush them. For him, the response should be different. Perhaps an ambush or a strategy involving less direct confrontation. But the young leader doesn't want to listen. He believes this is his opportunity to show everyone that he is the true heir to Sekekama. He trusts in his strength and believes it will be the key to victory. As the group approaches the watering hole, the young lion senses the tension in the air. Everything is quieter than usual. The hyenas that usually roam the area have disappeared, and the savanna seems to be holding its breath. Even so, he presses forward, leading his brothers into the battle that he believes will solidify his leadership. Suddenly, the rivals appear. Not just a few, but the entire coalition. There are many, more than he expected, and they are already positioned, standing in a semicircle around the watering hole. The rival leader, a young and powerful lion, steps forward at the head of his coalition, and the two lions lock eyes. The atmosphere is charged with electricity. Sekekama's strongest son feels the blood pulsing in his veins, his body ready for battle. He looks to his brothers, expecting support, but notices that the cunning brother hesitates. The rival leader doesn't wait. He roars, and the sound is like thunder shaking the savanna. In an instant, the battle begins. Sekekama's son charges with all his strength, diving headfirst into the fight. His goal is clear: to defeat the rival leader and erase any doubt about his ability to lead. The battle is fierce. The young lion fights with everything he has, using his superior strength to overpower weaker opponents. He seems unstoppable, but the rival coalition is relentless, attacking him from all sides. Meanwhile, the cunning brother watches from afar, his suspicions confirmed. They were lured into an ambush. The young leader, as strong as he is being isolated and worn down by the rival coalition. His blows are powerful, but he is being surrounded. The cunning brother knows that if they don't act quickly, his stronger brother might not survive this fight. With a heavy heart, the cunning brother decides to intervene. He may not have his brother's strength, but his intelligence and ability to anticipate the rival's movements give him an advantage. He organizes a flanking attack, coordinating the other members of the coalition to strike the rival's sides. This creates a gap, and for a moment, Sekekama's strongest son is able to catch his breath and reorient himself in the battle. But the battle is far from won. The rival leader, cunning and ruthless, realizes that he must eliminate the young lion to secure his victory. He charges with all his might, focusing directly on Sekekama's heir. The strongest son, already exhausted and wounded, prepares for the final confrontation. He knows that this is the moment that will define everything: his leadership, his future, and the fate of the coalition. The two lions clash in a fierce fight, exchanging blows that resonate across the savanna. Sekekama's son, despite his injuries, uses all his remaining strength to resist the rival's assault. The battle seems endless, with each lion trying to bring the other down, their claws and teeth sinking into flesh, the ground beneath them stained with blood. And then, in the final moment, when all seems lost, something inside Sekekama's son awakens. Perhaps it is the memory of his father, Sekekama, who faced so many battles before him. Perhaps it is the need to protect his coalition and his lineage. But, with a roar that echoes through the savanna, he summons all his strength and attacks with renewed ferocity. The rival leader, caught off guard by the burst of energy, tries to retreat, but it is too late. With a final blow, Sekekama's son brings the rival down, leaving him lying on the ground. The battle is over, and silence falls over the savannah. Sekekama's son stands, wounded but victorious. His brothers approach, and the cunning brother looks at him with renewed respect. They may have disagreed on strategy, but in the end, the young lion proved that, beyond his physical strength, he had the determination and leadership spirit needed to protect his coalition. However, this victory came at a cost. Sekekama's strongest son is exhausted, his wounds deep, and he knows that this battle was just the beginning. Other coalitions will come, other fights will be waged. But in that moment, he stands firm, knowing that he has finally taken the first step in following his father's legacy. The battle was won, but the weight of victory now rested heavily on the young lion's shoulders. The territory was safe for now, but he knew that it had only been a test. The fresh blood on his claws and the taste of victory did not erase the reality that new threats would emerge. The savannah never stands still. Like the current of a river, always in motion, the struggle for power between lion coalitions is constant and relentless. Back at the center of the territory, the young lion was recovering from the wounds he had suffered. His brothers, still impressed by his strength and leadership during the battle, looked at him with a mix of respect and caution. The cunning brother, who had previously questioned his approach, now seemed more contemplative, recognizing that the young leader was more than just brute strength. But the tension between the brothers still lingered, like an ember that never completely dies out, always ready to reignite. As the days passed, the physical scars began to heal, but the emotional scars remained. Sekekama's strongest son reflected on his position. He had proven his worth in battle, showing that he had the strength to protect the territory and his coalition. However, the battle had also revealed something unsettling. Physical strength alone would not be enough to ensure long-term survival. More and more, he began to realize the importance of another skill that his father, Sekekama, had mastered so well: the ability to strategize, to predict rivals' movements, and act with intelligence, not just force. The young leader had proven himself in combat, but he knew that the next phase of his journey would require something more. He needed to develop his own way of leading, one that combined the strength inherited from Sekekama with the intelligence and cunning he was still learning to value. Meanwhile, the coalition was reorganizing. There was a new confidence in the air, a sense of relief among the members. They had faced a formidable attack and emerged victorious. But the balance within the coalition was also shifting. The cunning brother, who had previously seemed more distant from leadership decisions, now began to get more involved. He and the strongest brother, though different in their approaches, began working together. For the first time, there was a mutual understanding, a realization that to keep the coalition strong, they would need each other. The brothers, with their complementary skills, formed a quiet alliance. The cunning brother helped plan, observing the rivals' movements, anticipating potential threats, while the strongest brother led on the front lines, ready to confront any threat decisively. This combination of strength and intelligence began to transform Sekekama's coalition into more than just a group of lions. They became a strategic force, a coalition that not only responded to challenges, but also anticipated their enemies' moves. This new dynamic brought a certain peace to the coalition. The rivals, noticing the unity and new strategy of the brothers, retreated for a time. Sekekama's territory, once a constant target, now seemed more secure. But in the savannah, peace is always temporary. Even with the coalition united, new threats would inevitably arise. It was then that disturbing news arrived. A new coalition had been spotted at the distant edges of the territory. Unlike the smaller groups they had faced before, this new coalition seemed organized and numerous. The members of this new group were young and ambitious, ready to claim their own piece of the savannah. The news brought back the tension that had eased after the last great battle. The strongest brother knew that this would be another test. He had recovered, but now he was more aware of his limitations. He knew he needed his brother's help, especially the cunning brothers, if he wanted to face this new threat. The cunning brother, in turn, was already studying the new coalition's movement patterns, anticipating the moment when they would make their move. Days before the expected attack, the brothers gathered the entire coalition. The plan now was different. It was not just about fighting head-on and relying on brute strength. They planned an ambush, a strategy that would catch the rivals by surprise and make them reconsider any advance into Sekekama's territory. It was a new approach, a combination of the brutality that the strongest son had already demonstrated and the strategic intelligence that the cunning brother brought to the table. With the plan set, the lions awaited the rivals' arrival. When the new coalition finally advanced, ready to test the territory's defenses, they were met with a surprise they hadn't expected. The ambush was executed with precision. Sekekama's coalition, now more united and organized, attacked at the right moments, completely destabilizing the rivals. The new coalition, caught off guard, quickly retreated, realizing they were not ready to face such a well-coordinated force. The victory came without the same brutality as the previous battle, but with an even greater sense of accomplishment. Sekekama's strongest son, now in a firm leadership position, felt that he had finally found the balance needed to keep the coalition intact. He had learned the most important lesson of the savannah. Strength and intelligence must go hand in hand. A true leader is one who knows when to fight and when to plan. But even with the new confidence, he knew the cycle never ends. Other coalitions would arise, other battles would be fought. However, this time, he was more prepared. His reign was just beginning, and with his brothers by his side, the future looked promising. Sekekama's legacy would live on, not only in his son's physical strength, but also in the wisdom he had gained throughout his journey. As time passed, Sekekama's territory finally enjoyed a period of relative peace. The victories won by the strongest son, now solidified as the coalition's leader, brought security to the group. However, he knew that this peace, as always, would be temporary. The savannah never allows total rest, and the cycle of life, death, and rebirth is constant. The victory over the most recent rivals was proof not only of his strength, but also of his ability to learn and adapt. Sekekama's legacy was secured, at least for now. The young leader was beginning to feel more comfortable in his new position. As he looked at the battle scars that marked his body, he realized that each one was a reminder not only of the physical fights, but also of the internal battles he had to face to grow as a leader. He learned that true power doesn't lie solely in muscles, but in the wisdom of knowing when to use them, and more importantly, when not to. Sekekama, now older and more reclusive, watched from a distance. The great king, who once ruled with an iron hand, was ready to leave the territory in the care of his sons. He knew that under the leadership of his strongest son, and with the support of the other brothers, his coalition was in good hands. He no longer had the same energy as before, and the natural cycle of the savannah was leading him into the final phase of his life. With pride, he observed the new generation taking its place in the kingdom, aware that the young lion was not only the strongest physically, but now a true leader, capable of facing any challenge the savannah might throw at him. The relationship between the brothers had also changed. The mutual respect born from shared battles had transformed their family bond. The cunning brother, who once saw the strongest brother as impulsive and reliant solely on brute strength, now viewed him as a complete leader, someone who combined intelligence and power. They continued to work together, each using their unique skills to ensure the coalition's safety and future. But as always, tranquility in the savannah is an illusion. Despite the recent victories, a new challenge was approaching, and this time, it didn't come from a rival lion coalition. The dry season was beginning. The savanna was becoming harsher with each passing day, water scarce, and prey harder to find. The coalition would need to face a different test, one that couldn't be won with claws and teeth alone. Sekekama's son now faced the challenge of leading his coalition through environmental adversity. During the rainy season, life was abundant. Prey was easy to catch, and the territory provided everything the lions needed. But with the arrival of the drought, rivers dried up, animals migrated far in search of water, and the once fertile territory turned into an arid desert. The coalition began to feel the impact. With less food available, tensions rose. Hunting became more risky, and each failure could mean death by starvation. The rivals in turn took advantage of this period of weakness to approach again, testing the borders of the territory. It was a delicate moment where wrong decisions could lead to the coalition's downfall. However, Sekekama's son, now more mature, understood that the true test of leadership wasn't just fighting rivals, but ensuring his coalition's survival during times of crisis. He began applying everything he had learned from past battles and the lessons left by his father. Leading was, above all, a matter of strategy, patience, and understanding the environment. He organized smarter hunts, optimizing the resources that remained in the territory. Instead of confronting the rivals directly, he avoided unnecessary fights, conserving his brother's energy for truly critical moments. The cunning brother helped plan careful ambushes, ensuring that even with limited resources, they managed to hunt enough to survive. As the weeks passed, the coalition began adapting to the new reality. Even during the drought, they managed to survive. Sekekama's strongest son had proven once again that his leadership went beyond physical strength. He knew that to survive, it took much more than muscles. It required intelligence, strategy, and above all, unity. The dry season finally came to an end, and with it, the first rains brought life back to the savanna. The vegetation began to bloom again, prey returned, and Sekekama's territory became fertile and full of life once more. The young leader looked around, seeing his coalition still standing, strong and united. They had survived not just physical battles, but also the silent battle against the relentless forces of nature. Now, the future seemed brighter than ever. Sekekama's son had proven himself not just to his rivals, but to himself. He had overcome the final test, the test of leadership in times of crisis, and with that, his reign was finally consolidated. The respect his brothers had for him had transformed into unwavering loyalty. They knew that, under his leadership, the coalition was safe. The old Sekekama, now weakened by age, withdrew even further. He could now rest in peace, knowing that the kingdom he had built was safe in his son's hands. Sekekama's legacy was not just one of strength, but of true leadership, and this would be carried forward by his heir. And so, in the vastness of the African savanna, the cycle of life continued. Sekekama's strongest son had become more than just the heir to a great king. He had become a king in his own right, forging his path, learning from his mistakes, and triumphing in moments of adversity. The coalition was strong, and the savanna, for now, was at peace. But, as always, the future in the savanna is uncertain. New generations of lions would arise, new challenges would appear. But Sekekama's son was prepared, and his father's legacy would live on through him for many years to come. And we've reached the end of another beautiful story. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment saying, "I liked it," so we can bring more videos like this one. Big hug, and see you in our next video.